Welcome to Trailblazing Out of Corporate Life, episode 59. Hi, my name is Ina Coveney. I am a salary replacement expert, and I teach you how to start the side business, replace your salary within a year so that you can do whatever you want. Today, I'm live from Orlando, Florida, and I'm going to tell you about going to conferences and walking away a rock star. If you're excited about the lineup of the conference, you're excited about the wrong thing. This is how A players treat conferences to elevate their brand, and it starts months before you even step foot into that conference hall. So if you want to learn more, stay tuned. But first, I wanted to remind you that you can watch the video version of this and any of my podcast episodes by going to inacoveney.com/59. That's the episode number. And just remember to spell Coveney right. It ends in EY. More after this. Hi everybody, I am recording my podcast right now. I'm live in Florida and I wanted to tell you a few things. So this is just for you Facebook Live people. I'm about to turn on the recorder one more time. So if you're thinking of going to a conference and you want to make sure you make the most out of it, you gotta listen to this, okay? Hi everybody, I am live in Orlando, Florida, so you may actually be hearing some swishing of the pool behind me. I may see some maintenance worker going around me because it's like 8:30 in the morning and this is the time everybody's doing work. So today what I wanted to tell you were these 7 tips to make sure that when you go to a conference, you walk away a rock star. And if you're so excited about these sessions and the lineup that the conference has, I'm just telling you right now, you're excited about the wrong thing. So I wanted to tell you how A players treat conferences to really elevate themselves, elevate their brand, and walk away with a million connections that could be those millions of branches of the opportunity tree, like I like to call it, right? So I want to just get started, just dive right in. These are gonna be 7 tips to really make sure that you're making the most out of your conferences. Step 1 actually starts months before the conference, all right? So number 1, the early bird gets the worm, okay? This works in multiple levels, in more ways than one. First of all, once you know what conference you want to attend, make sure to mark your calendar. I want you to go and, oh, by the way, I think, am I live in my, I don't even know if I'm live in my Facebook group or if I'm live in my Facebook personal profile. Hi everybody, good morning Carol, good morning Karen. So I'm going to say that sentence one more time, so I'm gonna go quiet for like 10 seconds. So let's start with number 1, which starts months before you even step into the conference hall, okay, months before, and that is the early bird gets the worm. Oh my God, this works in so many levels. First of all, identify which conferences you really want to attend before you start hearing about them, because when you start hearing about them, that's because they're promoting them, and if they're promoting them, that means that registration has already opened. You want to be there the day that registration opens because they always have the best deals for the super early bird sign-upees, if that's a word, right? So you want to make sure you're going to get the best price. That's number 1. And number 2, you want to get the VIP pass, whatever that means for your conference. I don't know what they're gonna call it. It's probably like a Starbucks style, like super latte or venti, or I don't know how you say large, and I don't drink Starbucks coffee, but like, you know what I mean. They're gonna call it different tiers, right? In the conference that I'm in right now, I am in Podcast Movement right now, which happened in Orlando, Florida, and I signed up for their Pro Pass. What that gives me, number 1, is a recording of all of the live sessions, all right? I will not miss anything because I will have access to them right after the conference. And number 2, I get to have access to the, quote unquote, green room, the place where all the speakers and the sponsors get to hang out and have breakfast before the conference, during the conference. I get access to that. This is key and it's very important, and you're going to see in subsequent numbers as I keep going down this list how important that is going to be. Another thing that happens when you show up early is that if you know where the conference is going to be, as soon as you sign up, go and find that hotel or that venue, and find the hotel that is closest to it. And if the conference is happening at a hotel, stay at that hotel. Nothing beats the convenience of being able to go back and forth to your room, to recharge your phone, to go get a sweater because things are cold, to go and drop off your registration packet bag at your hotel room, to be able to go clean up and change before dinner. Nothing beats that convenience. You will want to stay at that hotel or the hotel that is closest to the venue, walking distance to the venue. All right, so when you do these things early, you actually take most advantage and you make it so much easier on yourself, and you're going to get the best out of the networking experience. So another thing that may happen to you, this is what happened to me. I showed up early to registration. I made sure that I was gonna be there at 11 o'clock, even though registration for the hotel didn't start, like check-in for the hotel didn't start until 3 o'clock. I showed up at 11 in the morning. You guys know what happened? They didn't have enough rooms of the type that I registered for, that I bought at the hotel, so they upgraded me to an executive suite. So, and that ended up working perfectly. I had a TV, I had a couch and a living room, I had a dining room and a kitchen in my hotel room. I didn't need those things. I really appreciated having the fridge though, and having that dining room table, because for some reason there were no dressers, there were no drawers at all in my room, so I used the dining room table to lay out all my clothes. So going there early is always going to be a big win. So that accounts for registration time and even the hotel check-in time. Who knows what may happen? All right, let's move on to number two. Number two, get business cards. All right, you can do this. I did mine in a rush a week before the event. All right, and what I did was I went to moo.com. They're not paying me for this advertisement. I went to moo.com and I got myself several different styles. Okay, and then I went and I asked my audience. I went on Instagram and I posted all three styles and said, which one do you like best? Everybody loved the one that has my picture on it with my podcast name, like my podcast cover photo. Everybody loved those. So I'm like, okay, great. Those are the ones that I'm going to be giving out at the conference. Sadly for me, I gave out so many that I ran out by the end, and I had to use the secondary design, which wasn't too bad. The second design wasn't about my podcast. It was about podcasting classes in Boston, which I founded. So it has their logo in it, their logo, my logo in it. So those were okay, but if I'm at a podcasting conference, people are going to want to, number one, see my face in the business card so that they remember who I am, right? And number two, if there's a podcasting conference, the name of my podcast should be in there. I'm gonna wait for that to pass. Because of the sound. So at least a couple weeks before the event, make sure you go and you get yourself 200 business cards. Make sure that they have your picture. Everybody commented about the type of business card that I have. Moo.com, they do a beautiful job, and I really should get an affiliate link for them if I'm going to be talking about them a lot. But they're square, they're sturdy, and the design was just unbelievably beautiful. So a lot of people had a lot to say about it. They liked holding it, they liked receiving it, and with my picture on it, now they would not forget who I was once they leave the conference and they finally unpack their bags 2 weeks later. So get yourself a lot of business cards and always bring them with you. To tell you a really brief story, in one of the nights I decided to come down to the pool. I'm in Orlando, Florida. I brought my bathing suit. I'm gonna go in the pool. So one night it was 11 at night and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the pool, just go to the hot tub. And I get there and it's like podcasters soup, right? It's a hot tub full of podcasters. So I get in there and I start chatting with these three girls. Turns out they were not podcasters at all. They were part of the next conference that was coming up in the hotel, selling nail polish something or other. And I'm talking to them and I asked them like, oh, are you guys podcasters? They're like, oh, no, we sell nails. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a podcaster. I'm like, oh, really? What is your podcast? Oh, Trailblazing out of corporate life. And they're like, whoa, that is so cool. And I'm like, here's my card. So I brought my cards to the pool. So always keep them on you. Even if you don't think you're gonna need them, always have them on you, because you never know who you're gonna meet, and you don't want that interaction to be forgotten, to go away, to just disappear. So you always immortalize it by trading business cards. So always ask people, do you have a card? I'd love to have it, all right? And keep it, okay? One thing that I'm gonna do that I just started doing was cataloging at the end of the night who gave you a card and how you met them and what you found out about them, because you're gonna meet a lot of people and you want to make sure that you do them justice, that the conversation you had was meaningful and it doesn't just get forgotten by the sheer volume of people you talk to, all right? Always follow up later with an email. It was super nice to meet you. So you need to keep a catalog, because after 4 days, you may forget about that person you met the first day who was awesome. She gave you her card, and now 4 days later, you never saw her again and you want to say hi. You don't wanna forget them. So make sure to catalog that. At the end of the day would be ideal. Let's go to step number 3. Okay, this is probably the most important thing you're gonna get out of this entire podcast and this entire video, all right? When you go to a conference alone, you have full freedom to explore and to meet as many people as possible. And I can't stress this enough, guys. If you go to a conference alone, don't just stay in your head. Don't just go to the sessions. Open your eyes and look around and meet new people. If you see somebody who's alone checking their phone, go up to them. Stretch out your hand and smile. Say, hi, my name is Ina. What's your name? Don't have an agenda. Don't just do this to celebrities. I got a couple stories for you guys in this matter, because it's really important. So I did this the entire 4 days. If I saw somebody that was alone, I'd walk right up to them, or I would sit right next to them, say, hi, my name is Ina. What's your name? All right? And some people did that to me, a little bit more abrasively, a little bit more softer, but like some people came up to me, hi, what's your podcast? Right? I'm like, hi, I'm Ina, right? What is your name? They're like, Wendy, what is your podcast? Right? So some people will have different approaches. Give them the benefit of the doubt. You guys, being here and meeting new people is one of the scariest things in the world. So be okay with people, coming up to you and saying hello, and you do the same to them. Be super kind and smile. So I actually met someone through doing exactly that. I went to a session and I saw her. She was kind of looking around. I think she was trying to figure out where to sit for this session. I came up to her, stretched out my hand, smiled. Hi, my name is Ina. What is your name? We ended up becoming great friends. I ended up posting a picture of her and me on Instagram, because she and I just clicked and it was beautiful. So she and I were talking at one of the parties, and we were talking about meeting new people. She tells me, you know what, I am just really scared of doing that, of going up to strangers. I'm not there yet. I feel like that's something I need to work on. I'm not sure. And I told her, I looked right behind her and there was a girl looking into her phone, standing by herself. And I could see her name because of her tag, right? So I look over, I read her name, and I come to my friend. I'm like, have you met Alina? And she's like, no. She's standing right behind you. I want you to go over there, smile, stretch out your hand, and say your name. And she's like, right now? I'm like, yeah, right now. People react really, really well to people who smile at them. So when you introduce yourself, smile. Give them your best, most beautiful wedding picture kind of smile. And say, hi, my name is, what is your name? That's all you have to do. So I told her, I encouraged her, gave her that tip, go over there and do exactly what I told you to do. And she's like, okay. She turned around, went up to Alina, stretched out her hand, said, hi, my name is, what is your name? And the girl's face lit up. It was like night and day, her looking really serious at her phone, and all of a sudden her smile lit up her whole face. Hi. And I went over there, introduced myself to this girl, we traded business cards, and they ended up, I kind of walked away. I started meeting other people, and they stayed talking, they stayed together the rest of the night. And later my friend came back and told me, like, I'm so glad that you told me to do that. That's what I'm gonna do from now on. I don't know what I was so scared of. She actually asked me, what made you come over? So I told her your story. I told her what had just happened before. And she said, wow, because it made me feel so special that you would come up to me and smile and say hello. So that's what smiling does to people. That's a kind of effect that happens when you give people the time of day without having any hidden agenda. Don't just do this with celebrities, okay? Do this with everybody who is around you. And I want to tell you another story. Actually, why don't we move on to number 3? Actually, we are in number 3. Great. I'm looking down at my notes. So another thing that happened was, because I was doing this so much, every time that I saw somebody, I would introduce myself and give them the time of day, right? Let them explain what they do and really learn from them, and like get to identify, okay, this is the person, this is what they do. Okay, great, got it. What ended up happening is I met 3 different people in 3 different settings who were all podcasters for their academic institution. Princeton, Harvard Business Review, University of Wisconsin-Madison. And one of them, when I was talking to them about their passions and what they like to do and where they see their businesses going. And one of them said, you know, I've always had this idea that we should be creating an academic network of podcasts. And I'm like, that doesn't exist yet? He's like, no, it doesn't. So as soon as I met other people who did academic podcasts, when we were at a party, I looked around and it turns out that I had all 3 of them within eye shot, right? Within like just a few feet from me. So I went and I grabbed each one of them and I put them together and I said, you're all academic podcasters. Talk. And I walked away, and then they came up to me. They're like, oh my God, thank you so much for making that connection. So this is the magic that can happen when you don't have an agenda, when you can release any expectations that you have of meeting people and thinking that you're gonna get something out of them, like a guest spot or you know, publicity or whatever it is. You let go of what you can get out of them. You let go of what you can give them. You just get to know them, and magic just happens. So be open to that. Be kind. Be a great person to talk to. Okay, you can never go wrong with that. Let's move on to number 4, which is, here we go. Go to the parties. You guys, I am not a party person. I didn't have 1 drop of alcohol this entire thing. It's just not my thing. Guys, I had a day wedding to avoid having a party. Like, I am not a party person. It's not something that I enjoy doing. It's not something that brings me energy. So at the end of the night, by the end of dinner at 9 o'clock every single day, I was that tired. I wanted to go back to my room, to the big fluffy hotel bed and sleep. For once, I have kids at home. They're gonna wake me up early anyway. This is my time to sleep. And I could have just taken that stance and said, I'm too old for this. I don't even like it. I'm just not gonna do it. But guess what? The reason I am here is because I want to meet all of these people. Because I want to, and networking is such a buzzword, right? A lot of people think differently about what networking really is. I wanted to meet people because I know that that's where the magic is. That's where opportunities are endless and unexpected, right? When you meet people. So that's a concentration of my energy here, is to meet people. So when the parties presented themselves, and it wasn't even at the hotel, there were a couple parties that were off-site. I had to take an Uber to them. So actually it took effort. Get dressed, get in the Uber, and go someplace that I'm dreading because I'm not a party person. But I said to myself, that's where the connections are made. That's one of my goals. I'm going to do it. So I went and I did it, and I met amazing people in the process. I met people who were connected to other people that I already knew. I got to go into different groups and just go and see what are they talking about, introduce myself, get more business cards, get to know their stories more, get to talk about my stories more. So it was always worth it. I always walked away with something. To give you just a really clear example, on the first night, the party was actually at the hotel, and I was thinking after dinner, I'm falling asleep, I just want to go. Force myself to go. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go there. I saw there was a VIP block, there was a VIP section for the party. I'm like, well, I got myself the pro pass, I'm gonna see what's up. So I went there, I gave one look around. I'm not really seeing anybody that, you know, I was feeling like I could break through and chat with them. Nothing about them, just like me, the state of mind that I was, until I'm about to walk out of the room and I see a group of 3 people. And I'm like, okay, that's a small group. They look friendly. They look like me. I'm like, okay, that's really low-hanging fruit, right? So I go up to them, say hi. These people, I ended up talking to one of the women of that group for another 40 minutes that night. We talked about her passions, what she really wants to do. I ended up coaching her a little bit on, you know, how do you market yourself, about the importance of the online presence, about the importance of knowing your why, about what can turn into a meaningful business. We talked about all of these things, 40 minutes, and I was in my element. I was talking about the things I love to talk about. I was meeting somebody new, and for the rest of the conference, it's like we knew each other. It's like we've been friends for 10 years. And even last night, they were just hanging out by the pool, and I was tired, but I just went and I just sat with them, and we talked about choir. Like, a lot of us were like in choir groups in college. We started doing the chicken dance just because it's fun. I don't know how to explain it, but when you put yourself out there, when you decide to do these things, magic happens, and there's no way for you to control it or for you to know what to expect. So surrender yourself to the unexpected. When you meet new people, all you have to do, your only job, is to meet as many people as possible, to be kind, to give them the time of day, go to the parties, because that's where a lot of people are going to be very relaxed and want to talk to everybody. So, number 5, you are not there for the sessions. You're very excited about the lineup. You can't wait that your hero is going to be given the keynote speech, right? You're not there for the sessions. Okay, this is how A players, how the rock stars see conferences. They're here to network because they get the VIP pass, right? They didn't skimp out on the general admission ticket because they got the VIP pass, or they were speakers at the conference themselves. They know that they can get all of the session recordings at the end of the conference. They're not there for the sessions. So any chance they got, all the A players, they went to this green room, right? They went to the place where the food was for the speakers and the sponsors and the VIP people, and they talked to others. And I made great connections. Are you getting the theme here about meeting people? Have I hammered that in enough? So number 5 is, remember, you're not here for the sessions. I'm gonna tell you something magical that happened. I was skipping one of the sessions, and I came to that green room and I got a couple snacks, and I see a table that seems to be pumping, right? Like, they're all talking to each other and it's great. So I take my food, I sit down, I'm like, okay, this is the party table. Everybody's like, yes, yes. And then as soon as I sat down, they just kind of just turned and started talking to each other. And I'm like, what about, anybody want to chat, right? I mean, can I talk to anybody? So once there was a lull in the conversation, I asked them, so you guys all know each other? There were about 6 people at the table. Do you guys all know each other? And 4 of them were like, yeah, we came together. And then they kept talking to each other. I'm like, okay. And then one person sitting 2 people next to me, she's looking at her phone. She's like, I'm not with anybody. I'm not here with them. I don't know who they are. It was none other than Miss Trivinia Barber. I know who she is. I've known her online. I've checked out her stuff, and I look at her, I'm like, you are Trivinia Barber? And she's like, yeah, you know me? I'm like, I know you. She was so nice, so gracious with her time. We ended up talking up a storm. We talked about our kids. We talked about where we live. We talked about, business. We talked about all these things. And I walked away enchanted that this woman would give me the time of day, right? And it's all because I deprioritized the sessions and I prioritized networking, that these magical moments ended up happening. So again, number 5, you're not there for the sessions. Remember that. Side conversations with attendees are more important than going to a session and watching somebody speak on a stage. All right? I did get a lot of going to some sessions, so don't just skip all the sessions. I made great connections, but I was very judicious about which sessions I attended. Things that I need right now. And if after 15 minutes I wasn't getting what I needed, I walked away, because I could be out there making a connection with somebody that would be instrumental to my life, rather than sitting here and watching something that is boring. So keep that in mind. You're not there for these sessions. Number 6, we're almost there. We got 7, all right? Number 6, understand that you have no control. Give up control and magic will happen. Do not have a list of things that you want to do in this conference. Surrender yourself to meeting new people. And I'm going to tell you a story that was magical. On the first day, I forgot I had the VIP pass. I didn't even know that there was a VIP line for registration. So I went to the general admission registration. Somebody told me, if you want to register, go to the end of the room. So I went to the end of the room, and I found the shortest line, and I just stood there. The person standing in front of me in line was none other than Leo Laporte. If you are in systems, if you're in IT, you know who I'm talking about. Leo Laporte is a mogul of IT systems podcasting. And my husband has his podcast on TV all the time. If my husband is doing dishes, if he's cleaning up, if he's doing work, he has Twit, that's the name of the network, he has Twit on. So I knew what this guy looked like, and I saw him and I could not believe my eyes. I was like, this is the celebrity sighting for my husband. He was extremely gracious. I put on my best wedding photo smile for him. I introduced myself. I asked him what he was doing here. He introduced me to his son and to his wife. We ended up chatting for a bit. I asked him very kindly if he would record a hello video for my husband, and my husband flipped out. Not only that, Leo is well versed in world matters, and he knew what Venezuela was going through. Venezuela is where I'm from, and we were talking about that and talking about the current state of affairs in the United States. And he says, you know what, you're cool, I like you, here's my card, have your husband contact me and I will get him into my Boston conference that is only accepting 100 people. There's only 100 seats. He'll get a seat. Tell him to email me. Guys, I was almost in tears because of this, and it happened because things are going to happen like this. All right, don't be shy, take advantage of opportunities, but mostly stay open to the fact that you have no control over getting a hotel upgrade, over meeting your husband's hero at a conference. You have no control over these things. So open your eyes and find ways to be kind to people, to be nice, to not have an agenda, and just put yourself out there the best way you can. All right, you do that like it's your job. Are you getting the theme here? All right, let's go to number 7. Final. This is so important, guys. Celebrities, you're gonna run into celebrities at conferences. Celebrities are not your personal prop. Let me say that again. Celebrities are not your prop. Okay, they're not there for you to get excited and look at and take pictures with. Okay, celebrities are human beings just like you, who are deserving of respect, who are deserving of boundaries, who are deserving of privacy, but also they're also there to meet people. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a couple stories that one is gonna make you cringe, and the other one is a lesson that I learned by meeting somebody in the exact way that I'm talking to you about. So I was, walking around with somebody that I had just met. We were exchanging cards, we were talking, we were just familiarizing ourselves with each other, just talking. We look up and we see none other than Pat Flynn, who's the godfather of podcasting, right? We see him right in front of us talking to somebody else, and I get starstruck, right? I'm like, oh, that's Pat Flynn. The gentleman I was with goes up to him, puts his arm around him, puts his phone up and says, "Hi Pat, can we take a picture?" Pat, taken aback, looks at him and says, "Can I finish my conversation first?" And he's like, "Okay." And we ended up just walking away. I am sure my friend was embarrassed. I can totally understand his reaction, because when we see a celebrity, we get excited, right? And they must know that they're celebrities, so they must know that people are gonna want to take pictures with them, right? But that was probably not the right way, and I'm sure he learned that valuable lesson there, just like I did, right? I'm like, that was not the right thing to do, right? So I walked away. I'm like, you know what, guys? I spent way too long when I was younger, 23, 24, bright-eyed corporate person, right? Wanting to rise up the ranks, wanting to be noticed by VPs, wanting to like really be appreciated, be seen, and I spent way too much time networking the wrong way. The way that I was networking was going up to these big shots and doing the same, like smiling and introducing myself. The thing is, guys, there is no meaningful connection when you have nothing in common with this person. The fact that they are a celebrity or that they have a certain stature doesn't mean that there is a fruitful networking relationship there. All right? So when you see celebrities, when you see people of stature, you have to remember they probably get approached a lot and all the time, right? So I was actually very, I learned my lesson that networking is about friendships, that networking is about relating to people and being interested in their story. It's not about putting people in a pedestal and then thinking like maybe just being around them is going to elevate me. It just doesn't work that way. So be really careful with the celebrity impact, right? Me meeting Leo Laporte, that was a celebrity, right? And I approached it from a place of thankfulness, right? I had something to say. I wanted to thank him for being that inspiration in my husband and to remind him, hey, you know, you have, you know, there's something really fun that we can do here for somebody who's a true fan of yours, right? He was all game for it. With Pat Flynn, I'm gonna tell you a couple things, how I felt before and then the lesson that I had to learn about this. About Pat Flynn, I actually saw him later in the green room. He was just walking around by himself. You guys remember everything I've been saying for the past 6 points about if you see somebody by themselves, just go up, smile, and say hi? I didn't do that to Pat Flynn because I was gun shy, right? I was like, you know, I'm past that stage of my life where I'm trying to network with big shots just to get something out of it. And I'm gonna let him have his privacy. I've never taken his courses. I've only listened to his podcast a couple times. So this is not somebody that I have something to thank for. This is just somebody that I just know that they are famous. I just know who they are. And is that enough to say hi? I didn't think so. So I just saw him, look at the food, and walk away. And I never said hello. So you can take something out of that, like if you are the way that I was when I was 23 and 24, you can take that one way and say like, no, I'm not ready to network with this person yet, I will soon. Or I actually got to meet another, you know, superstar. His name is Vincent Puglisi, right? And he and I, like, we got to have dinner last night and we were exchanging just ideas on business, and I told him the story about Pat Flynn. And he told me, well, didn't you just tell me about going up and say hi to anybody without having an agenda? Haven't you been talking about that all along? And I said, yes. He's like, what makes him different? And I couldn't answer that question. I'm like, yes, he's a celebrity, but I've been talking to you for an hour about walking up to people without an agenda and just saying hi. Why wasn't I able to do that with Pat Flynn? Just say hi, my name is Ina. How are you doing? That's all. That's what I've been doing for the past 4 days. Why didn't I do it with him? So Vincent helped me see that with celebrities, if I bring down their status a little bit and just treat them like everybody else, just be kind and give them the time of day and say hello, what is the problem? And I'm gonna tell you guys, I wish I had had that conversation with Vincent 3 days ago, because most likely I would have gone up to Pat Flynn, I would have introduced myself, just like with everybody else. We would have been aware of each other, and maybe there's something we can do in the future. Maybe there's somebody I want to introduce him to. Maybe there's somebody that he wants to introduce me to. I closed myself up to opportunities because I got blinded by the celebrity aspect of it. So take from this story what you will. All right, my lesson here is still the same. When you network, you smile, you say hi, you say your name, and you learn about the other person. And that's all. That's your entire job. No agenda. And when it comes to celebrities, what makes them different? I had that lesson to learn, and I hope that's something that, Vincent, through this podcast, can reach out through the screen and through this audio and tell you they're just like us, right? Like from Us Weekly, they're just like us. And I just close myself down to an opportunity. And I'm not saying because it's a celebrity. Not meeting someone is always a loss of opportunity. It doesn't matter who they are. So these are my 7 points of how you walk away from a conference being a rock star. It's not about cataloging every single session. It's not about learning, keeping your calendar booked with session after session after session. It has a lot to do with who you meet, how you approach them, and how you follow up in the future so that those connections don't get lost. So I really hope that was helpful. These are my tips on how to walk away from a conference as a superstar and how to play like an A player. So if you have any feedback for me about this episode or you liked it, you can always go to the video version and put a comment in it in acovany.com/59 in this case, or you can just leave a review in the podcast and tell me what you thought. If you like this episode, you can share it with other friends. If you're about to go to a conference, send it to your friends who are going to be going to the conference too, and see, to make sure that everybody is on the same page on walking away like a superstar out of these opportunities. All right, guys, that is all I had for you. Vincent is here. Hi, Vincent. I've got a table ready for breakfast. Okay, you guys, I'm going to breakfast with Vincent. I will see you all later. And if my husband is watching, which he's not because he's on Facebook, I'll be home soon, honey. I miss you. I miss my babies. So I'll be there this afternoon. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye. Yay, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. Click right here and check out the podcast Trailblazing Out of Corporate Life. I'll see you there.